Oh, hey, and we're back. Welcome to yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss Record of the Year. This episode brought to you by, but not sponsored by, social distancing and COVID tests that allowed this duo to come together. Bringing you back to the year 1977, where disco may or may not have been king or queen. And joining you as usual from the Shire, Mr. Eric Nelson.
It's an honor just to be nominated.
And of course, keeping us on track with our facts and figures and spreadsheets, Dr. Vincent Stevens.
I like a good spread.
And I, of course, am the not lovely nor talented, Susan Lombardi Verticelli. Dr. Stevens?
All right. So 1977. So these are the top 10 hits that were popping that year. Number 1, Tonight's the Night by Rod Stewart. Number 2, I Just Want to Be Your Everything by Andy Gibb. Number 3, Best of My Love by The Emotions. That's a disco hit. Number 4, Evergreen, Love Theme from A Star Is Born, Barbra Streisand. Number 5, Angel in Your Dreams by Hot. Number 6, I Like Dreamin' by Kenny Nolan. Number 7, Don't Leave Me This Way, Thelma Houston, also disco. Number 8, Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher and Higher, a cover of the Jackie Wilson classic by Rita Coolidge. Number 9, Undercover Angel by Alan O'Day. And number 10, Torn Between Two Lovers, Feeling Like a Fool by Mary McGregor. So those are your top 10 for 1977. What's going on in Grammyland in 1977?
Yeah, so who were the nominees? So first up, Linda Ronstadt with Blue Bayou. Then Stickin' with the blue theme is That Crystal Gayle Chestnut, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. And then we're going to hop over to the world of green. So we're staying on the color theme with Evergreen, Love Theme from A Star Is Born by Barbra Streisand. And then if we weren't feeling bright enough, let's get some more light into our lives with You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone. And the winner, which I do not think has an urban experience fee, is The Hotel California by the Eagles. So there you go.
All right. So are we ready to get this party started?
We're always ready to get this party
Always.
started.
Very good. Okay. So we will start with the lovely Linda Ronstadt.
I feel so bad, I got a worried mind. I'm so lonesome all the time. Since I left my baby behind on Blue Bayou. Saving nickels, saving dimes. Work until the sun don't shine. Looking forward to happier times on Bayou. I'm going back someday. Come what may to Blue Bayou, where the folks are fun and the world is mine on Blue Bayou.
Vincent Stevens, I know this is, I believe, a favorite of yours, this song. So why don't we kick it off with you and your thoughts about Linda Ronstadt's version of this song?
Yeah, thank you. So Blue Bayou was originally a song by Roy Orbison. It was a hit for him in the early 60s, I want to say, early mid 60s. And her version is completely different. Apparently, the reason she wanted to sing the song is because she wanted to sort of showcase more of her voice. And she also did a version in Spanish because she was really into, there's a certain kind of Mexican singing that influenced her singing, where like people hit big falsetto notes. That's part of the tradition. So that was her motivation. It wasn't recorded as a tribute to Roy Orbison. I think that, Linda Ronstadt was kind of one of the premier interpretive singers of the 1970s. And was probably in many ways kind of the leading female rock singer of that era. And I think this song showcases her voice beautifully. I think she tells the story wonderfully. I think this is a real interpretation and not just a cover. I just think it's got lots of nice textures. It builds really well. It's like a beautiful song. I mean, I think that there are lots of torch songs and pop music, but I think that this one really stands out just by the purity of her voice and the power of the delivery and the way the story builds. So I definitely think this is one of her best recordings, which by definition, I think makes it one of the better recordings of its era.
Shut the zam. Susan, would you take a trip to Blue Bayou?
I would, and mostly because I feel like Linda Ronstadt is selling that travel brochure.
She is.
I felt like I got the story listening to it this time. I don't feel like I've like put a lot of time into listening to it. And I just kind of, to Vincent's point, I thought like that voice, and it stretches and she threatens to break, and I feel like she threatens to break you with it. Like she knows where her strength is, and kudos to her for taking a song and thinking, nope, I can do it better, and I've got the range to do it in. I also thought like, 2020, don't take Linda too, please. Can we just have one thing? Can we just have one nice thing?
She's still with us.
I also, referencing my earlier thought, like I was embarrassed to say, like, I don't really know the lyrics. Like I knew the chorus, right? I could hum along. And I just wondered if that like destroyed my credibility, or if I had any credibility to begin with.
You have gobs of credibility.
Gobs of credibility. And I also like, is it cheese that I'm craving? Like, is it like a Hawaiian 70s cheese? I don't know.
There's like a marimba.
Yeah, there's like something happening, and I feel welcome. Texture is happening. But I feel like that's what brings you in to the tour brochure. It's got like multi levels to it. So hats off to you, Linda.
She totally contours that song, doesn't she? So this song, Linda Ronstadt is the reason why I picked this year, because recently we watched this documentary that Vincent Stevens had recommended called Linda Ronstadt, I think The Sound of My Voice is the name of it. And it gives you a really good overview of her sort of path in her career. And I'm going to say this because it's going to sound a little funny, but it actually, I mean it in a really earnest and heartfelt way. What you essentially walk away from that documentary is all of these amazing stars or musicians of the 70s and 80s saying, Linda Ronstadt can sing anything. Like that's sort of the thesis. And you see like these examples of this over and over again in the documentary, from pop to soul, to ballads, to rock, to Mexican music, to country. It's like there isn't a song, because a lot of her songs were covers actually, but people don't, I think of that because she makes them so much her own. It's not like it's a shot for shot remake of that movie or a note for note cover. It's like she does it in a whole new way. And I love, and we just heard it, how she just rips apart You By You when she gets to that point. And it's to both of your points, it's a lovely journey she takes us on. Her voice is so beautiful. My one criticism, which is not about the song, is how did this not win the female vocal category that year? She was nominated but walked home without an award. So we'll get to that in just a few moments.
Maybe this is her year. Maybe podcast singular, right? We don't know yet.
That's right. We don't know yet. But I highly recommend that documentary. It's really great, and happy to
nominated for Grammy for Best Music Film, by the way.
Oh, for this year.
Yep.
Oh.
So she could win a Grammy in 2020.
Well,
tangentially.
But still, even she won't win it, but the producers will. But you know what? That's great because it gets her story out there, right?
Totally. Speaking of getting a story out there, we're going to stay in the blue theme and look what happens to our eyes when someone, breaks our hearts, perhaps.
All right.
So.
A little Crystal Gayle, Loretta Lynn's little sister.
Don't know when I've been so blue. Don't know what's come over you. You found someone, and don't it make my brown eyes blue? I'll be fine when you're gone. I'll just cry all night long. Say it is untrue, and don't it make my brown eyes.
Vincent, what color does this make? What color does this song make your eyes?
I mean, my eyes are brown, but you hear this and there might be a little twinge of light. So Crystal Gayle is, I think, a good example of kind of middle of the road 70s country. She's influenced by, other country singers, but she's also equally influenced by, let's say, Karen Carpenter or Patti Page or Doris Day or Joe Stafford. She's got that very smooth, pure, crystal type voice. No pun intended. I think that this song with this little jazzy piano and that kind of like shuffling rhythm, like it's ear candy. It's very appealing to the ear. I mean, it's very repetitive, but it's very appealing. This is the thing. This song is 2 minutes and 38 seconds. We got through a fourth of the song by that snippet. So I think it's a song that it kind of drifts in, it does what it needs to do, and then you're out. Frankly, I think that there are more nominees that need to be that way. So I think this song has one idea. It's kind of a clever idea. It makes its point. I think she sings it in a very lovely way. A lot of people kind of covered this song, I think, in the 70s and 80s. I think it's a song that, even though Crystal Gayle is a country artist, I would say this song is on the pop country axis, and it's got a little jazz to it as well. So, I mean, I think it's a very well crafted, very enjoyable, kind of torchy ballad. It's not too tortured. It's not too painful. It's not too light. It's kind of just right. I mean, I think compared to some other songs in this group, it's a little bit weightless, meaning it's a 2.5 minute sort of torch song. It's like I'm sitting in the window, drinking a cocktail, lamenting. All right, moving on. So I don't necessarily think it's the strongest song in this group, but I think it's very appealing. It's definitely Crystal Gayle's definitive performance. So yeah, I think it's a nice, classy song in this group, even if I don't think it's necessarily the strongest.
Speaking of a classy in this group, Susan.
Thank you. I think if you would have asked me before I listened to the song again, I'd have been like, oh, that's a wonderful song. I really enjoy that song. And leading into it, the piano I just thought was fantastic. I think that piano brings you in, and it kind of like lulled me into my original thought of like, yeah, that's a good song. And then I was like, is it though? Is this a good song? I don't know. Like, it was sweet. The lyrics were cute. I liked the play on the eye color. That was kind of, yeah, to Vincent's point, it was like a piece of candy, and then it was over. But maybe that's like what a good song should be, right?
Maybe.
You get a little taste, you get a little sweet, and it's done.
It's an appetizer.
Right. Maybe it's an appetizer.
Aperitif.
Amuse bouche.
It's an amuse bouche.
I love the amuse bouche.
But I think Crystal's voice is beautiful. When I do flash back to the 70s, like, didn't they have like ridiculously long hair?
She did.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm not even, should it be here in this category? Did she play the piano? No. Yeah, it was sweet.
It was sweet. Yeah, it's sort of like a meringue cookie, right? Like the minute you put it in your mouth, it just sort of, it's lovely and you love the texture, but then it kind of disappears. Like it is sort of, I think, what a pop song should be. Like, it has a clever concept. It introduces an interesting idea. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and then it moves on, which this song does that. It actually, though, Susan, to your point, by like minute 2, I was like, isn't this song done yet? Because it only has one idea and it doesn't really explore that idea in any complicated or in-depth way. It has a clever title. It's got that jazzy piano, and that is all this song has. I don't think it even has like a third verse to it. Maybe it died. I couldn't even remember. All it is a clever title and a jazzy piano riff.
Like,
And
we
it
want
does.
that story, right? We want that story.
the
Yeah, like
story-
what happened? What happened?
The story's buried.
Yeah, it's so surfacey. It's pre, before before going to your analyst was socially accepted and we could talk about these things. This is a song about hidden emotions. The other thing I remember about this song is when I was a kid and this song was out, so I was born and alive as this song was climbing the charts, you could not turn on the TV and not see her on some variety show or award show. Like, my whole memory of the 70s is Crystal Gayle singing this song in sort of like a nude colored, like chiffon or like fitted dress with spaghetti straps and rhinestones, and doing that. And then she would talk to the Mandrell sisters, or then she would talk to Cher, or then she would talk to whoever had, yeah. And that's all the 70s were. And it was the era when microphones still had cords, when you would sing on TV and you had to like work that.
I'm hoping that we can find a clip of her on Hee Haw singing this.
Oh.
I'm sure there
on
is.
YouTube, for those of you who don't know, Hee Haw is a show that aired from the late 60s to the early 90s, actually. Every major country act of the era was on the show. So it was kind of a variety show with music. And everybody, Johnny Cash was on it, Garth Brooks was on it, Dolly Parton, everybody. So we're going to look for that clip a little bit later. But
Totally. So I'm just saying one other thing about this song and then we'll move on.
Okay.
I also don't think it belongs in this category. It's not, it's a fun song, but there's so many other great songs that we'll get to in this year that did not make it. So let's move on to Babs, and Another Color, Evergreen. The love theme, or the theme, the love theme from A Star Is Born.
Right.
Second or third version of the movie. Were there 4?
Yep, you're right. I feel like these are a lot of swaying songs.
Love, soft as an easy chair. Love, fresh as the morning air. One love that is shared by two. I have found within you, like a rose under the April snow. I was always certain love would grow. Love, ageless and evergreen, seldom seen by two.
Okay, Vincent. What's your love theme from Your Star Being Born?
So as we know, this song was written, the music of this was written by Barbra Streisand, who learned how to play guitar for the film A Star Is Born, which she produced and starred in.
And edited.
And edited, apparently. And, I think this song has a very lovely melody. I think Paul Williams did. I would say the lyrics are a cut above your average love song of that time. Like, I think the lyrics are actually very pretty and picturesque. They're not embarrassing. They're not cloying. They paint a really nice picture. And this song is a standard. It's a song that's been covered by many, many singers over the decades. I think this is some of Barbra Streisand's loveliest singing. It's just unforced, and the texture of her voice is great. Like, from the very beginning when she intones the song, she kind of is taking you there. You're like, okay. So this is like prime Barbra Streisand, which again makes it a very kind of extraordinary song for that particular era. At the end of the day, I mean, it's a love song, right? It's a beautifully, lushly produced love song. I think it is very appealing. It's got a nice melody. I don't necessarily think it's like an earth-shaking song. But I mean, I think it does what it's aiming to do, which is sort of give you this almost cinematic, lush, beautiful, thematic, positive, upbeat, romantic song. And I think it does what it needs to do. I don't know that there's anything here that we didn't know Barbara Streisand could do, other than, I mean, she did write the melody. So I think it's a solid. I mean, I think it's a solid Streisand performance in her oeuvre. So I don't know. I'd love to know what you all think about it, because I've heard the song so many times because I am a big Barbara Streisand fan. That it's
What?
interesting to sort
Oh
of
my
learn,
God.
right? Surprising, but it's interesting for me to hear how other people process it. So
Isn't that interesting, Susan, how we're always learning new things about
New
Vincent?
things,
New
like
things.
unwrapping a nugget of gold.
Indeed. The gold standard.
just talk.
Gold standard. Susan, what is your thought about Evergreen?
Well, speaking to my cred, which I referenced earlier, am I embarrassed that I've never seen this movie?
I've never seen it either.
This song is the best part of the movie, and let's leave it at that.
Can I also say that the album cover makes me feel queasy? I feel like you're walking in on your mom kissing her new boyfriend and you're like totally grossed out by it. I don't know, like maybe I've just put Barbara too high up on a pedestal that I can't watch her do like normal things, but I'm like, oh, please don't do
the
that.
song.
Okay. Also, is this the soundtrack to every 1970s child's parents' divorce? Or is that just me?
What?
Because I feel like
Probably.
from my broken home to yours, America, I feel like this is played a lot. And I'll, like, what is she saying? What is, I mean,
I love you. Our love will last forever. That's it. That's the premise.
And I also like, is there a chorus? Are we getting somewhere?
She says ageless and evergreen. It comes later. It's buried.
I want a hook. And there's no hook in this song. There is no denying the melody. Barbara's voice, to Vincent's point, is just perfection. But it's like she was just like, I'm gonna vamp for a while.
I'm so popular.
It's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but I want a hook.
I agree. It's funny, as I was listening, I was actually also, in addition to Linda Ronstadt, I was excited to revisit this year because I was like, you know what? That Barbara Streisand song that won an Oscar, that's the theme of this movie. I can't recall it. I cannot recall this song. And I can, so many of her songs I know. And as I was listening to this, all I kept thinking is, every moment I just instantly forget because there's absolutely no hook in this song. It's so boring. The lyrics are so like not mature in any way. They're just these like schoolgirl musings in a notebook.
Wow,
like,
you are savage this morning.
It's so boring. It does not hook you in. And then I thought, and maybe it has been covered. I was like, it's interesting, like so many songs get covered and then become hits again or sampled. I have no knowledge of this song getting covered by anybody or sampled because it is so boring. There's like nothing about this song. I wish that she had a guitar solo in it that she would do. Like, go ahead, Susan, what were you asking?
I was just asking if they used it in the Cooper Gaga version, but Vincent said no.
I don't think so. But yeah.
Well, one of the people who covered is Bobby Short, the late cabaret singer. He has an album from the very early 80s where he covered it. Shirley Bassey covered it. It's the kind of song that singers of that generation that did interpretations, because this song was such a big hit. It was #1 for 4 weeks, won the Oscar for that song. It just, I think because it was popular, a lot of people just covered it. I don't know if anybody thinks their versions are great, but it has a life beyond itself.
All I kept thinking is, why isn't this the way we were? like that song's hooky and interesting and may not be great, but it pulls you in. This song doesn't pull you in and doesn't, it leaves you alone afterwards. So that's my take on this song. So boring. So boring.
All right.
Let's move on to that song that spent like so many weeks at #1. Like if it wasn't Crystal Gayle performing in a variety show, it was Debbie Boone in the 70s. So let's hear this song. Vince, how many shows have you auditioned for with this song?
It's my go-to. I bring a corded microphone with me.
Ooh.
Okay, Vincent.
You know, the 70s was a fascinating decade because, as you mentioned, this song was number one for what, 10 weeks?
10 weeks. It broke the record at that time.
So there's so many ways to address this song. Number one, I think that it kind of epitomizes 70s middle of the road music. It's got a clear chorus. It's got this very obvious build. It's kind of almost a guilty pleasure, right? Because again, it's also a kind of ear candy, a kind of like, almost kind of treacly, kind of like, oh, like I always say, like, this is one of those songs whenever anybody's covering it, I don't even think about Debbie Boone. I just think, wow, this song builds. Then I get to the chorus and I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed that this hooks me in. And I think Debbie Boone's performance is fine. I think it's got a very generic faceless sound to it. Like she could be one of the singers in Lawrence Welk, like one of those anonymous background singers. Because it's not about her performance, it's about the structure and the build of the song. So she does the job. There's nothing remarkable about her performance. I also think this song is kind of a precursor to sort of contemporary Christian music where it's like, is this about a lover? Is this about God? So she has always said, when I was singing this song, I was thinking about the Lord. Like that's verbatim. So it sounds like it's this romantic song about your nights and all this stuff, but she's singing it as a Christian song. So, but I don't think that she objected to the fact that it probably was a hit on Christian radio and pop radio.
She still cashed those checks.
Exactly. I mean, she's a middle of the road singer. You know, whenever I hear other people sing, it's like LeAnn Rimes, who I enjoy very much, sings a version of this song that's very robust. I mean, it follows the same blueprint, but LeAnn Rimes just has so much more soul and so much more power than Debbie Boone that she almost makes this song respectable. But I mean, it's kind of the epitome of 70s ballad cheese. It's kind of hard to take it seriously. It's just so like, I was empty and you filled me up. I mean, like, come on. So I think it's the weakest nominee in this group. I know that you all think that, you know, Evergreen's boring. I mean, I think this song, after you've heard the verse and the chorus, you know what this song is about. There's no mystery to be uncovered. So it delivers on what it's aiming for, which is, I think, relatively modest. So, yeah.
Well, let's go to the most modest person on the panel for their take on.
Espresso, then Prosecco.
Speaking of relatively modest, I think that this song is what Evergreen wanted to be.
Lost the Oscar.
You know, it has a hook, to your point.
Definitely has a hook.
You hear it and you're like, why am I being pulled in? And then you're like, damn, I'm pulled in. Although when Vincent told me it was about the Lord, it changed it a little bit. And then
How so?
Well, I was thinking of being filled with light from the Lord, and that felt different.
We'll have a confessional later where you can.
I will be Pastor Tom, and I will be meeting later. We will be talking about this. Justin Timberlake has introduced me to Pastor Tom. I'm not sure it's the weakest nominee.
We'll find out.
I mean, I think it's cute.
Yeah, it is. It does, like, it pulls you in every time, even if you don't want it to both of your points. It's like, how did I get here? I'm belting this out in the car with her. It is funny. I remember whenever this, so in probably 2007, there was an article talking about the history of this song because it was, some anniversary, and they interviewed Debbie Boone. And she was talking about how she was touring still to this day, still singing the song. And she has these backup singers, and she, who are young, these two young women, and she overheard them talking, and one of them said to the other one, Debbie does a really good job with that LeAnn Rimes song. Oops. Which I think speaks about, like, this song, to Vincent's point, is really about the structure, and you can almost insert anyone into this song because it does all the work for you.
We haven't covered it.
We should, but like it gives you such a blueprint of like hitting all the right moments. You can make it more soulful or whatever, but like it's already there for you. So it has a robust structure to it. What I don't like about this version perhaps is it feels very karaoke to me, and that I think is more to do with her singing of it, because she belts it, but there's really no feeling in this song, and it leaves you kind of empty, which actually opens it up very easily for parody and perhaps the legacy that it has become, but I blame her singing for that, because of there really being no texture to it. It's just surface.
But doesn't it also open up to drag queens across this great nation also singing it? And
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's built for a
drag queen.
performer. Yep. Yeah.
Do you think Debbie knew that?
I hope so.
I don't think Debbie knew a lot about drag queens in 1977. Could be wrong though.
So those were our nominees. So let's talk about the winner, which were the Eagles and Hotel California.
All right. We will not be playing 6.5 minutes of the song, just so you know.
Is this Barbara?
She learned to play this guitar.
You know that in Blue Bayou, the man harmonizing with Linda in the second, is Don Henley.
Oh.
Yeah. The Eagles were her backup band before they became the Eagles.
Did they date? Are you sure?
Not totally.
He speaks highly of her in that documentary.
He does.
Bless him.
Bless him.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
We're getting there.
Is this an instrumental or does the song have lyrics?
We're getting there. Hold on. It's coming.
Like ragu tomato sauce.
Vincent, did you get a room at the Hotel California?
I was thinking about it, but there was a opening at the Wilshire Hotel. So Hotel California. Oh, I think I feel about this song the way that you guys felt about What a Fool Believes several months ago when we did 1979. I think this song is it's such a dude song, and it's such a rock radio cliche. It's very difficult to listen to with fresh ears because I just feel like it's been on. I feel like it's literally just been playing for 43 years, like uninterrupted. So when you hear it, you're like, which part am I at? I think that, as Mr. Peterson pointed out yesterday, I think that there's a lot of talent and craft in the song. Obviously, there's some very, gifted guitar players, obviously. It's a very well-crafted song. I mean, I think the premise is sort of LA mythology thing. It's kind of the LA mythology writ large. I just think, I think it's a well-crafted rock song. I think it's definitely a class above a lot of the epic power ballads that groups like Kansas and Styx were producing at the time. Because I think the Eagles have a lot more rock credibility, whatever that even means. And I think that there's a lot of thought and craft that went into the Eagles, which is also, I think, one of the criticisms of them is that their work is often considered to be kind of overworked. Like everything is so meticulous, it doesn't breathe. I think it does what it sets out to do. I understand it's a song that the dudes love, and some of the dudettes. It doesn't do much for me. In this group, I think because we have 4 songs that happen to be sung by female performers, and they're all kind of in that middle of the road soft rock genre. This song ends up standing apart because it is so different in tone. And I think it's telling a story. There's a lot there, and it is a classic song, but it's not my record of the year. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Susan, is it your
Uh,
record of the year? You don't tell that just yet.
No,
But shh.
I listening to this. It's like this is the guitar reckoning song. Like
Yeah.
where it all comes together and like the drums come in. And it is a time stamp, but also to Vincent's point, like I feel like it can be played at any point in time and you still pick up where you left off. And then I wondered, is this song about sex? Is this song about drugs? Like, is this song about kidnapping? Like, is this song about all of these things? I don't know. Like, I actually am not sure I know what this song is about. I mean, I get it. Like, there's a Hotel California and there's kind of things that happen there. But like, what is happening? Where are we going? Why are we there? I don't think you can dismiss the talent that is happening on this song. And I think that the song allows the art of the jam band to actually sound prepared versus like when I went out on the road with Steely Dan, like there was a lot of that like
Sorry.
going on. But also this,
Where did that story come from?
we'll talk about that later. We'll take that offline. Put down in the comments.
We put that in the parking lot and put some caution tape around it.
This song goes on too long, but just long enough that you get tired, but you're not exhausted by it.
What if Justin Timberlake sang it?
If just,
What goes around comes around.
however, this song should have ended with a chorus and it should not have gone out on an instrumental like jam vibe. That's what I would have said if we were in the recording studio. However, if we were in the recording studio, it'd have been 1977 and we probably all would have been like, hi, and I wouldn't have known what I was talking about. And that's probably why it goes on for 6 minutes and 38 seconds. But there, also to Vincent's point, there is a reason it does stand out because we kind of had these like all female nominees, yay. But then this is something that's very different in the mix. And then I wonder too if that's why it won, because the others kind of blend together and this one comes out a little bit on top because it's a little bit different. I'm not saying it should have won. I'm not saying it shouldn't have. I'm just wondering if that's why it did.
Yeah.
So then Prosecco.
I wonder if this is like this year is this moment, right? Like you've got the Eagles, you've got Fleetwood Mac, you've got Linda Ronstadt. So you have this that 70s Laurel Canyon, Malibu musician group. They all kind of knew each other. They all kind of dabbled with the same producers and musicians and whatnot. So that California rock moment is happening here. And it was so big, like, Rumors was #1 for like a gazillion weeks and sold 1 million copies. So I wonder if they also just needed to award that moment in time here. What I do like about this song, I like this sort of haunting quality. I like that it feels like an adult, mature song. Like, I'll take Blue Bayou out of it because it doesn't, it also feels that way. But the other three feel like, they were written to sort of speak to what people think should be fairy tale or breakup songs for life that doesn't happen that way. Like there's no edge to those songs. They're actually not really speaking about the world anyone lives in. They're just like white horse songs. And I always find those disappointing. Like, why would you write this song that's just like for adults, but not at all about how adults live their lives? Where like Hotel California in its sort of, murky, but, mature kind of way, I think at least rises to that occasion of saying it's okay that these lyrics don't tell you exactly what they are, but you still feel like you're on a journey with them. And it may be about issues like, loss of identity or coming of age or whatever is happening in that hotel at that time. There's something appealing about a mature point of view versus like, you light up my, like, that's like, it's so like banal and not at all the world people really live in. So I like that about this being among those nominees. I also think it is really hard. I agree with Vincent's point. Like when you've heard these songs, some of them, and they've never left the radio, they stop having potency to them because you've just heard them so many times. So, while the guitar riff is interesting and still very iconic, it doesn't pull you in the same way perhaps maybe it did in 1977, hearing it for the very first time, or for the first hundred times like would have happened that year. Anyway, I like it though. I like that it's different and it's a mature song. So I'm going to leave you with that. So who should have been nominated? I bet there's a lot of songs that should have been. This is a weird year because looking at that list. So Vincent, who would you have added to this list?
Sure. So I want to add a little bit of context in 1977, because when you look at the songs, even excluding a lot of the songs that were in the top 10 most played, because there's a lot of middle of the road stuff, but there isn't this one sound that defines 1977. But as you mentioned earlier, right, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac was, I think, the first album by any rock group to have 4 like top 10 singles. Like it was just a singles machine. So I would say any single from that album could have been Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, Dreams. Any of those songs, all of those songs were eligible. I'm shocked that none of those songs were nominated. But
isn't that weird?
Any of those songs could have been in this category and probably won, frankly. The fact that Dreams has had this revival in 2020 is hilarious to me, that this whole generation is like, oh, have you heard this group, Fleetwood Mac? I'm like, yeah, I was basically in the group. But this is the thing, right? This is a year when kind of AOR, album-oriented rock, is huge. So you've got the Eagles, you've got Fleetwood Mac. At the same time, you also have disco really crossing over. So I think Best of My Love by The Emotions, which did win a Grammy that year for R&B group, that would have been a great nominee. Don't Leave Me This Way by that is a stone cold classic. Everybody knows that song. Like, if you know anything about disco dance music or R&B, you can't hear that song and not know what it is. Hello. I've Got Love on My Mind by Natalie Cole. I mean,
lovely.
It's another female ballad, but she sings the you know what out of it. Nobody Does It Better by Keith Emerson. Hello. Now that was nominated for Best Song of the Year, which she didn't write. It was Carol Bayer Sager and Marvin Hamlish. But that is a classic. That is a record that lots of people have covered. They sort of followed the Carly Simon blueprint. There are some other songs that are like super quirky, like On and On by Stephen Bishop. I love that song. Easy by the Commodores is another classic. Got to Give It Up, Part 1 by Gayle. So I'm just saying, like,
which has endured, like how that song has been sampled and like lives on to this day. And yeah.
So all of which says, and I would say, even if the Grammy people were like, okay, we need like a country song, we need like a pop song, we need like a a disco song. If they were like, we want it, but we still need a middle of the road pop song, it was almost like a song by Ronnie Millsap. It is a sappy song. It's literally Ronnie Millsap intentionally was like, Barry Manilow's having all these hits. I want a song like that. That would have been, I would take that over 15 You Light Up My Life. So all I'm saying is that this actually could have been a really diverse list of nominees because of all the great music coming out in 1977. And at this time, you also have the Sex Pistols breaking through in the UK. So music is sort of changing. This list is such a Grammy list. 4 middle of the road songs and then like a rock dude song.
It's why people don't like the Grammys.
Exactly. And the nominees for 2021 was announced earlier this week. We can talk about that in a second if we want to. But so I think from this list, I think you could actually eliminate almost every song in amongst the songs that were nominated and replace them with 5 songs that were great. So yeah. I think the Grammys actually undersold what was happening in 1977, which we don't always say on Podcast Singular.
We should say it.
Oh, really? I'm saying it here, and I'm saying it now.
Done.
In an undisclosed location on an undisclosed, unspecified date. With an unspecified person. I don't know who this is. Get out of my house.
Sketchy.
I am not going to add too much more because I feel like Dr. Stevens has said it all. This is usually where I soar, but I'm going to step back a bit because I feel like
It's really kind of you, Susan.
Vincent's hitting all the notes. I'm not sure what the nominees this year are about. I don't think it's playing it safe. I think it's playing it like AM easy listening. I will add, where's Car Wash?
At the car
Car
wash.
wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. At the car wash.
Totally.
Yeah.
That soundtrack did win the Grammy for soundtrack this year.
Oh,
So
well, there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, like, how is Don't Leave Me This Way not on this list? Like, that opening, just like, there's so much to that.
Great.
Hey, okay, enough of that.
Okay, I'll add one more because Vince, I agree with every single song you mentioned. It's just like this category could have been completely different. And, you know, shout out to Dreams and Nobody Does It Better, because like Nobody Does It Better is such a great song.
Such a great song.
How, yeah. And I will add one more. How is Sir Duke not on this list?
Okay, I looked into this. It was nominated the year before.
Oh, but it came out as a single. It came out in the eligibility period.
I think because it was on the album, and because Songs in the Key of Life won all the. I think it may have been nominated for some of the, because I think they will pull album tracks. I think.
Okay. I didn't look at it because it came out in the spring or something, so I was like, oh, it made the eligibility cut.
Okay.
And that song, like
brilliant.
Like that, brilliant. How like that would beat any of these songs. With his hands tied behind it.
Okay, Susan's looking up some trivia about the song, but
yeah,
that was because those Grammys. So Songs in the Key of Life came out technically in '76, but was at the '77 when they had the Grammys was feted for that. So
okay.
What are we learning? Are we learning anything else?
Looks like it won producer in 1977.
He would have won producer, yes, but did the song itself win anything or get nominated for anything? All right, just looking it up. And I think that song, I Wish, I know that song also I think did win. So it may have been nominated for something that year, and another Stevie Wonder song may have won, perhaps. So
maybe.
But that's a brilliant song.
It's a brilliant song.
Yeah.
Like it. There's no way it would have lost had it been nominated. Anyway, but maybe that's the reason why, or that's probably the reason why. Why would I? Yeah. But when I saw that, it just boggled my mind that wouldn't have made the cut here. So there you go. That is. Oh, so who should have won? Or out of this list, who would we give it to? So Vincent Stevens, like, pull that envelope open.
So when I open the envelope, the award goes to Blue Bayou by Linda Ronstadt.
Ooh, wow.
Of all of these songs, that is the song that I am more likely to listen to by far. As you pointed out, Linda Ronstadt's palette is full of colors and textures. And I think this song is a great showcase for her talent. I think that in the rock world, people who are primarily interpreters rather than songwriters or instrumentalists are often I think underrated and kind of dismissed, like, oh, well, she's just singing a song that someone else wrote. But I'm like, she completely transformed the song and made it something entirely different than Roy Orbison, which in and of itself is a real achievement because Roy Orbison's a great artist. This is one of her signatures. She sings it beautifully. I just think, and yeah, we can say, oh, it's a middle of the road ballad. It's kind of a toy song, whatever. It is beautifully sung. It's well produced. It earns its power. I'm here for it.
Done. Suze.
I actually, I'm still deciding. My top two are Hotel California and Blue Bayou. I don't know.
I too have the same top two, but I'm going to deviate from Vincent Stevens and I'm going to go with Hotel California for that sort of journeyness of it. I love the sort of that mature-y vibe. You know, there's something, I like the imagery. I don't need to hear it again, but I'm glad it won. I wish they would, any of these other songs we talked about I think, had they been nominated, probably could have won in this category. So But of this list, it came down to those two, but I'm giving it to the hotel.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
So you're not going to choose?
Oh, do you want me to choose?
Yeah.
Yes, you have
Where are
to.
you leaning?
Honestly, I lean Hotel California because I just think it's kind of an epic song. But I think Blue Bayou, given its interpretation, can also be reinterpreted again. Like, I think that's a song that can come up again. Nobody's redoing Hotel California.
People have redone it, but
Nobody's
foolishly.
listening
Foolishly.
to that.
Foolishly.
Right.
My vote's going to go to Hotel California.
Okay.
There you go. Well, let's just say Linda Ronstadt should have won the vocal category that year.
Oh yeah, I think, but it was Barbara's year. They were giving Barbara Grammys left and right. I think I'll Be Sure, like one of the in the '90s, one like an R&B singer.
I'll be sure.
Remade Hotel California. I think it. Can you look that up? I don't know if it's I'll Be Sure or maybe Eric Benet, but somebody definitely remade it as kind of more of an R&B oriented song. And I don't know that I listened to it.
I'll Be Sure.
I'll Be Sure. Okay. Interesting. That little tidbit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss Record of the Year. And in this episode, we discussed 1977. Don't forget to follow along on Facebook at Podcast Singular, of course, on Twitter at Podcast Singular, and here on our YouTube channel, who we are not endorsed by, Podcast Singular. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and ring that bell to get all the notifications. For Eric and Vincent and myself, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, act up, speak out. And remember, it's just an honor
to be nominated.
Indeed.
Ciao.
Ciao.